Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. My name is Rosami, and my channel is still pretty new. So if you're here watching this, thank you. It really means a lot. Before we begin, I want to share something personal. Even though Sonic the Hedgehog is a true icon in gaming history, I didn't grow up playing the classic Sonic games. My first real connection to Sonic came from the cartoon Sonic X, which I watched as a kid. And I still remember playing Sonic R on the computer. That was one of my earliest Sonic experiences. But the original Sonic the Hedgehog from 1991, I only played that much later, and that's exactly why I wanted to make this retrospective. I wanted to go back to the very beginning, to the game that became synonymous with speed, attitude, and childhood memories for millions of players around the world. And now, in 2026, 34 years after its release, I want to find out, is the original Sonic the Hedgehog still a good game today? Does it still hold up? Let's dive into the history of this blue legend and see why Sonic continues to matter after all these years. Before Sonic ever raced across a screen, Sega was facing a challenge. In the early 1990s, Nintendo dominated the gaming world. Mario was the king of platformers, and Sega needed a hero who could compete. Someone fast, stylish, and unforgettable. Inside Sega's Japanese development teams, several designers began working on ideas for a new mascot. One of the key figures was Naoto Oshima, the character designer who created Sonic's iconic look. He imagined a blue hedgehog with sharp spikes, big eyes, and a confident attitude. The color blue matched the Sega logo, and the red shoes were inspired by Michael Jackson's fashion style. Another important creator was Yuji Naka, the lead programmer. He was obsessed with speed and wanted to build a game engine that could move faster than anything players had seen before. His programming made Sonic's momentum, loops, and slopes possible. And then there was Hirokazu Yasuhara, the game planner and level designer. He shaped the flow of the stages, the curves, the ramps, the secrets, everything that made Sonic feel smooth and exciting. Together, Oshima, Naka, and Yasuhara formed the core team behind Sonic, a small group with a big mission: create a character who could stand toe-to-toe with Mario, and maybe even surpass him. In 1991, their creation finally made his debut, a blue blur who would change Sega's future and leave a permanent mark on gaming history. When Sonic the Hedgehog released in 1991, it wasn't just another platformer. It was a statement. The game was built around one idea: speed. Where Mario encouraged careful jumps and slow exploration, Sonic pushed players forward. Loops, ramps, slopes, everything was designed to keep the momentum going. The opening level, Green Hill Zone, became instantly iconic. Bright colors, catchy music, fast gameplay that felt unlike anything else at the time. But Sonic wasn't only about speed. The game also had moments of precision, platforming, and exploration. Zones like Marble Zone slowed things down, forcing players to think, plan, and time their movements. And this is where Sonic becomes interesting. Because even though the series is famous for speed, the gameplay loop is actually very different from what many players expect. Traditional platformers like Mario focus on precise, methodical platforming. You move carefully, you react to obstacles, you take your time. Sonic, on the other hand, rewards something else entirely: learning the level, understanding the physics, and finding the fastest route through momentum. For many players even today, this creates confusion. They try to force Sonic to go fast all the time. But the game doesn't work that way. If you rush blindly, you crash into enemies, lose your rings, or fall into traps. If you go too slow, you lose the flow and the momentum that makes Sonic fun. The real magic of Sonic is balancing both. Slow down to understand the terrain, then speed up when the level opens up. This misunderstanding is one reason why some gamers struggle to get Sonic, especially those used to Mario-style platforming. And then there's the transition from 2D to 3D. The classic 2D games were built around physics and momentum, but many 3D titles like Sonic Adventure and later Boost-style games shifted toward linear cinematic speed. Some fans loved it. Others felt the exploration and physics-based gameplay were lost. But the original Sonic the Hedgehog from 1991? That game captured the concept perfectly. Momentum, exploration, speed, and control all working together. For millions of players, Sonic became a symbol of the 90s, a hero with attitude, a character who felt fresh and exciting. And now, in 2026, 34 years later, the big question is, does the original Sonic the Hedgehog still hold up? Is it still fun? Is it still worth playing? And does it still deserve its place as one of the most important games in history? Let's take a closer look at what made the original Sonic so special, and whether that magic still works today. To understand why the original Sonic the Hedgehog still stands out, we need to look at how the gameplay actually works. Because Sonic isn't just about running fast, it's about how speed, physics, and level design all work together. Momentum-based movement. Sonic's movement is built on momentum. You don't instantly reach top speed. You build it. Slopes, curves, and ramps all affect how fast you go. This gives Sonic a sense of weight and flow that most platformers didn't have at the time. It feels almost like controlling a rolling ball one that reacts naturally to the environment. The levels in Sonic are designed to reward players who learn them. The first time you play, you might bump into enemies or lose your rings. But the more you replay a stage, the more you understand its rhythm. You discover shortcuts. You find alternate paths. You learn where to slow down and where to let loose. This creates a gameplay loop that feels satisfying and skill-based. Multiple routes and exploration. Unlike many platformers of the time, Sonic's levels aren't just straight lines. They're layered. There's a high route, a middle route, and a low route, each with different risks and rewards. Skilled players stay on the higher paths, where the speed is smoother. Beginners often fall to the lower routes, which are slower and more dangerous. This design makes the game replayable, even decades later. Control and precision. Even though Sonic is fast, the controls are surprisingly precise. You can stop, turn, roll, and jump with accuracy as long as you respect the physics. This is where many new players get confused. They expect instant control like Mario. But Sonic asks you to work with the momentum, not against it. And of course, we can't ignore the soundtrack. Masato Nakamura's music gave Sonic a unique identity, upbeat, energetic, and memorable. Green Hill Zone, Marble Zone, Spring Yard Zone. These tracks became part of gaming culture. Boss fights and challenge. Each zone ends with a boss fight against Dr. Robotnik. Simple patterns, but iconic designs. They break the pace just enough to keep the game interesting. Now that the game is 34 years old, the big question is, does it hold up still today? And surprisingly, a lot. The momentum-based gameplay still feels unique. Even in 2026, very few games capture momentum the way Sonic does. Modern platformers often focus on precision or cinematic action. But Sonic's physics-driven movement still feels fresh and satisfying. The level design is timeless. The multiple routes, the hidden secrets, the flow of the stages, it all still works. Green Hill Zone remains one of the best opening levels ever made. It teaches the player everything without a single tutorial. The visual style still looks great. The pixel art is colorful, clean, and full of personality. It's simple but iconic. Even on modern screens, the game looks charming and instantly recognizable. The music is still legendary. Masato Nakamura's soundtrack hasn't aged a day. It's catchy, energetic, and full of character. Many modern Sonic games still reference these melodies. The game is easy to pick up. You can finish Sonic 1 in about an hour. It's short, but that makes it accessible. Perfect for new players discovering the series for the first time. The core identity of Sonic is clear. Speed, attitude, momentum, exploration, everything that defines Sonic is already here in the first game. After replaying the original Sonic the Hedgehog in the year 2026, what's the final verdict? While the 1991 Sonic the Hedgehog is often regarded as a revolutionary masterpiece, the game that launched the franchise and helped Sega become a true competitor in the 16-bit era, The first game is generally not considered the most refined entry in the classic trilogy. Most critics and longtime fans agree that Sonic 2 or Sonic 3 and Knuckles improved the formula with smoother level design, better pacing, and more polished mechanics. And it's true. Some zones in Sonic 1, like Marble Zone and Labyrinth Zone, slow the game down a lot. They focus more on cautious, precise platforming rather than the fast, flowing momentum people associate with Sonic. For new players, this can feel unfair or even confusing. But at the same time, games from that era were meant to be challenging. They were designed to test your patience, your timing, and your ability to learn the level layout. And in that sense, Sonic 1 fits perfectly into the gaming philosophy of the early 90s. But despite those flaws, the original Sonic still has something special, a kind of charm and energy that many modern games struggle to capture. It's a game that defined an entire era, and it still has the power to entertain new players today. So yes, Sonic the Hedgehog from 1991 absolutely still deserves its place in gaming history. It's not just an old classic, it's a timeless one. Thank you so much for watching this retrospective. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and feel free to subscribe. It really helps my channel, like mine, grow. And I'd love to hear from you. What was your first Sonic game? Like, did you grow up with the classics or did you discover Sonic later? Let me know in the comments. This is Rosami, and I'll see you in the next video.